Relentless waves battered the silent tropical shoreline as dawn revealed a vast, unforgiving wilderness. Lena lay motionless on wet sand, seawater tugging gently at her exhausted, unresponsive body. Her eyes snapped open sharply, confusion flooding her mind as memories refused to form clearly. Lena coughed violently, spitting salt water while her fingers clawed instinctively into cold, gritty sand. Harsh sunlight exposed endless ocean behind her and a dark, foreboding jungle ahead. She forced herself upright, soaked clothes clinging tightly as fear thundered through her chest. Broken memories flickered briefly before dissolving beneath the relentless roar of crashing waves. A distant silhouette stirred near the surf, dragging itself painfully toward shore. Ethan collapsed onto the sand, chest heaving as instinct pushed his eyes across the empty horizon. He rose slowly, despite pain, scanning the unfamiliar shoreline with hardened, focused awareness. Lena noticed him, fear and fragile relief colliding as their eyes met across the beach. They stood silent, strangers bound by shock, wind, and crashing waves in shared isolation. Lena steadied her breathing, fighting panic tightening deep inside her chest. Ethan surveyed the beach methodically, searching for threats, tools, or any path to escape. Scattered wreckage lay near the waterline, silently confirming no immediate rescue awaited them.
They're gone.
Lena followed his gaze,
Didn't make it.
hope flaring briefly before sinking into heavy disappointment. Only untouched sand and endless water stretched toward an impossible, empty horizon. Ethan checked his pockets carefully, jaw tightening as his hands found nothing useful. He lifted a broken phone, its lifeless screen ruined completely by seawater. Lena checked her soaked shorts, discovering a small backpack still clinging stubbornly. Inside were drenched supplies and useless tools, draining her fragile optimism rapidly. They exchanged a long, silent look, understanding their absolute isolation without words. Ethan gestured cautiously toward the dense jungle, uncertainty etched across his face. Lena nodded slowly, overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the towering wilderness. The sun climbed higher, brutal heat already draining strength from their exposed bodies. Sweat formed quickly as Lena muttered about the punishing, relentless heat. Ethan finally spoke, introducing himself calmly to anchor the chaos around them. Lena replied softly with her name, grateful for a moment of human connection. Names exchanged, the island felt marginally less hostile, though danger still lingered everywhere. Rustling palm leaves reminded them that nature controlled everything here.
Shelter.
Ethan pointed toward
Before
higher
dark.
ground, stressing shelter before darkness arrived. Lena glanced back at the
Rescue.
vast sea,
Possibilities.
quietly wondering about rescue possibilities. Ethan paused, calculating silently while watching the sun's slow descent. He answered honestly, survival first, rescue distant and deeply uncertain. Lena swallowed hard as fear slowly hardened into stubborn determination. Together, they turned inland, stepping carefully toward unknown terrain ahead. The jungle loomed thick and dark, promising resources while hiding unseen dangers. Ethan snapped a sturdy branch free, testing its weight for balance and protection. Lena tightened her backpack straps, bracing herself for whatever awaited them. Birds suddenly scattered deeper within the foliage, triggering immediate alarm. They froze, listening closely as tension tightened around their bodies. Silence returned heavier than sound, urging cautious forward movement. Leaves crunched beneath tired steps as filtered sunlight flickered overhead. Lena stumbled slightly, exhaustion weakening her legs, and Ethan steadied her instantly. A brief nod passed between them, trust forming quietly through action. They reached a small clearing, offering visibility and a fleeting sense of control. Ethan assessed elevation, wind direction,
Good visibility.
and nearby
here.
resources with practiced focus. Lena watched shadows lengthen, anxiety rising as daylight slipped away. Her hands clenched tightly, urgency pulsing as time compressed dangerously. Ethan declared the spot workable, confidence steady despite the looming night. Relief briefly softened Lena's face before exhaustion crashed down, weighing every movement heavily. They dropped gathered branches, muscles trembling, as shelter construction began immediately. Ethan demonstrated knots with thick jungle vines, movements efficient despite fatigue. Lena copied carefully, trembling hands, struggling but refusing to fail. Together, they leaned branches into a fragile triangular frame, praying it would hold. Palm leaves were layered carefully, each one offering only fragile protection. The structure shifted under their touch, anxiety flashing sharply between them. Ethan tightened vines harder, forcing stability through controlled strength. Lena gathered more leaves, arms scratched raw, lungs burning with
Almost
effort.
out of reachable.
She asked about fire quietly,
Can we make a
hope
fire?
flickering despite the encroaching darkness. Ethan shook his head firmly,
Consider the risk.
knowing fire could wait, but shelter could not. Jungle sounds grew louder as shadows thickened, surrounding them with unseen movement. A distant screech cut through the air, primal and deeply unsettling. They froze, hearts hammering as silence swallowed the sound again. Fear lingered thickly, pressing against them from every direction.
More danger.
Ethan urged speed, reminding darkness magnified every danger. They worked faster, abandoning precision for survival-driven urgency. The sky burned orange and purple as the sun sank lower. Sweat and dirt streaked their faces as exhaustion threatened collapse. Lena paused briefly, staring at the breathtaking ocean beyond the trees. Beauty clashed cruelly with danger, nature indifferent to their suffering. The sun kissed the horizon, igniting sky and sea before disappearing. Twilight swallowed the clearing as their shelter barely stood finished. Ethan tested the structure gently, uncertainty flickering behind his eyes. Lena crouched inside, darkness closing in as unfamiliar sounds surrounded them. Night thickened, the jungle transforming into an unseen, breathing presence. Ethan gathered remaining materials, placing them carefully within arm's reach. They sat near the entrance, alert, listening, refusing to relax. Insects erupted into restless chorus, overwhelming the silence with movement. Lena whispered thanks, voice shaking with fear and gratitude. Ethan nodded slightly, eyes locked on the black tree line beyond. A branch snapped nearby, instantly sharpening fear in the darkness. They tensed completely, breath shallow, bodies rigid with anticipation. Silence returned slowly, heavier than before, pressing against their nerves.
Listen carefully.
Ethan quietly
Go north
explained
towards
night
the river.
rules,
Avoid the clearing.
conserving energy and staying aware. Lena listened intently, memorizing every word as survival knowledge. Stars emerged overhead, cold and indifferent witnesses to their fragility. Moonlight shimmered across waves, beautiful yet relentlessly unforgiving. Lena hugged her knees tightly, fighting cold and creeping terror. Ethan positioned himself at the entrance, becoming a silent guardian. Wind rattled palm leaves, testing already frayed nerves. Time lost meaning as hours dragged painfully through darkness. Sleep felt dangerous, yet exhaustion clawed relentlessly at Lena. She glanced at Ethan, drawing strength from his steady presence. Ethan met her gaze briefly, offering reassurance without words. The shelter creaked softly, responding to wind and shifting weight. Fear lingered constantly, but determination burned quietly between them. The first night tested resolve more than strength or skill. Their survival journey truly began beneath the deep, unforgiving jungle darkness.